You're about to enter a world where reality is stranger than fiction. A world where movie legacies take a life of their own. A world where people have too much free time on their hands and let their imagination go wild on social media. You're about to enter the movie Urban Legend Zone. I love movies. They are such delightful pieces of entertainment that can transport you into a different world and make you forget all of your troubles for 2 hours. However, there are some movies that have strange stories attached to them, urban legends that went on behind the scenes that make us see a film in a different perspective. Most of these urban legends are pretty fucking stupid, while others turn out to be true. But I picked 5 what I consider to be the most interesting ones. So, let's start with the list with Suicidal Munchkin from The Wizard of Oz. Let's start with something familiar. The Wizard of Oz, one of the most beloved movies of all time, and one of the first few movies that everyone saw when they were children. But most people don't know about the drama that went behind the scenes. For example, Buddy Ebsen, who was the original actor to play the Tin Man, suffered an allergic reaction from the aluminum dust makeup and was hospitalized. The Cowardly Lion costume was made out of real lion skin and fur. The snow scene was made out of asbestos, a deadly toxin that increases the chances of getting lung cancer. Margaret Hamilton, who plays the Wicked Witch of the West, suffered 3rd-degree burns on her hand and 2nd-degree burns on her face during a scene where she disappears into a cloud of smoke and fire. Judy Garland was called a pig with pigtails by the executives from MGM and was forced to lose weight by going on a strict diet. She only consumed chicken soup, black coffee, cigarettes, and was prescribed amphetamine pills. Judy was also slapped in the face by the director Victor Flammy because she kept breaking into laughter during the scene where the Cowardly Lion is introduced. And she was sexually harassed by the Munchkins. Speaking of Munchkins, there is an urban legend that one of the actors who play one of the natives from Munchkin country committed suicide by hanging himself. And his lifeless body can be seen when the main characters are walking down the yellow brick road while singing or off to see the wizard on the original VHS tape from 1980. Okay, so there's all sorts of reasons why this urban legend does not make any sense. First of all, did anybody notice that there was a dead guy hanging before filming? I mean, somebody had to prepare the set. Second, watch the scene and see how close the actors were to the body. One of them would have noticed it and freaked out because, you know, they would be seeing a dead fucking body. Lastly, you would think that there would be some kind of newspaper article talking about the incident or a cast member, speaking out, but nothing like that ever surfaced. There's all sorts of holes to this legend that don't add up. However, if it's not a dead munchkin hanging in the background, then what is it? It turns out to be a bird, specifically a crane they got from the Los Angeles Zoo to make the forest more alive, and apparently the bird was unfolding its wings which created that strange shadow. Honestly, the original VHS copy looks so blurry to the point that you can't make out anything in the background. What made this urban legend take off was probably an editing trick. According to YouTuber ALC Media, some other YouTuber heard about the Munchkin suicide and decided to take a step further by cropping one of the actor's image, making him darker, like a shadow, and use stop motion effect to make it appear to be swinging. The video became viral as everyone knows today. Despite this urban legend to be complete bullshit, the idea is still creepy. Like, imagine seeing a real dead body caught on film in one of your favorite movies. Incoming train. From the arrival of train at La Chota Station. The arrival of train at La Chota Station is one of the first films ever made. It was released in 1896, directed by this guy. And the footage is just 50 seconds of a train arriving at its destination. According to the legend, the audience who saw this film for the first time believed that the train was coming towards them and freaked out and ran out of the theater. This story doesn't seem to be far-fetched because the technology was new at the time and people were more gullible back then. However, there's no evidence to support this story. There's no newspaper articles or any record whatsoever that tells there was an audience panicking over a train limping out of a screen. Maybe there is some truth to this legend. Maybe the moviegoers of that time gasped when they saw this film and throughout the decades people over-exaggerated the reactions. It's a possibility, but it's fun to think about, and it has been referenced in other movies like Martin Scorsese's Hugo. Ghost Caught on Film from Three Men and a Baby. Three Men and a Baby is a 1987 comedy movie about three men living together in New York City who received a baby that was dropped on their doorstep. According to the urban legend, a little boy died in that apartment where the movie was filmed at, and his ghost can be seen in the background behind the curtains. In actuality, the apartment interior was built in a studio in Toronto, Canada, and the ghost was just a prop of a cardboard cutout of Ted Danson's character that can be seen up close later in the movie. If you put these images side by side, you'll see the similarities between the two. Three Men and a Baby is a movie I've never heard of until I was doing research for this video. There are other comedy movies from the 1980s that are far more memorable, and without this urban legend, Three Men and a Baby would have most likely been forgotten.
Do you remember there was a ghost in your movie?
Well, here's the story. This was a big deal for video sales and all, and maybe Disney made it up, because the story was that this kid died in the house where we shot the movie.
Oh, yeah.
This little boy.
Yeah.
Well, we shot on a soundstage. They built the set and all, and
The Butthole Cut from Cats. Cats is the worst musical movie I have ever seen in my entire life.
For once I can say this is mine, you can't take it. Long as I know I've got love, I can make it. For once in my life, I've got someone who needs me. Go on.
Okay, second worst.
Hello, very nice to meet you. I'd like to know about sex change operation.
I see. Men to woman, or woman to men.
Man to woman.
From penis to vagina.
Third worst. I've never seen a movie that's so bizarre and yet so boring at the same time, and it's such a lousy adaptation of the Broadway musical that was only made for the stage. However, did you know that there's an urban legend where there's a version of this film where you can see the cat's buttholes? As the story goes, the digital effects team were under a lot of pressure trying to make the cats look as realistic as possible by giving them buttholes. This urban legend has been confirmed to be true by the visual effects editor, who told Vanity Fair that the realistic cat backsides were unintentional by the animators. They wanted the cat's skin and fur to look like they've been groomed or just folded in a way that looked like buttholes, but after going over the footage, they decided to remove it. I don't blame them. The article also stated that Tom Hooper, the director of Cats, treated his animators poorly and didn't give them enough time to animate the cats properly, which might be the reason why the movie looks the way it does. I don't know if this version of the movie still exists. There's probably been multiple re-edits ever since the massive backlash it received back in 2019. But if this cut still exists, would you want to watch it? The version I saw was awful. Having to see the cat's assholes will make the movie unbearable.
Stop milking it!
Get out!
Dead Bodies from Poltergeist. It seems fitting that the last one I would talk about would be a horror movie, and Poltergeist has one of the most disturbing urban legends of all time. You're probably familiar with the Poltergeist curse. It came about when some of the cast members tragically died not long after the film was finished. Donna McDunn, who played Dana, was murdered by her ex-boyfriend 5 months later after the film was released. Heather O'Rourke, who played Carol Ann, who said the famous line, "They're here," died at the age of 12 of complications from acute bowel obstruction. Julian Beck, who played the evil preacher in Poltergeist 2, died of stomach cancer shortly after the film was done. Will Sampson, who played the Native American shaman in Poltergeist 2, died after a heart lung transplant a year later after the movie's release. Of course, you can consider them to be unfortunate circumstances, but there is one story which has been confirmed to be true. You know those dead bodies that appear at the climax in the first movie? The legend goes that they use actual dead bodies instead of creating fake ones because they were cheaper and looked more authentic. You might be saying to yourself, that can't be true, there's just no way to use real corpses for their movie. But in a documentary series called Curse Films, is confirmed to be true by special makeup effect artist Craig Reardon, who worked on the first movie and explained that Hollywood has been using real dead bodies for decades.
Here's something I guess they don't know, and that's the fact that human skeletons have been used in movies for years and years. William Castle, who's kind of a beloved figure, well, he makes a movie called House on Haunted Hill, and then at the end of that movie, Vincent Price makes a skeleton emerge from a vat of supposedly acid. The skeleton wobbles toward his virago of a wife. Well, that was a real skeleton too. It was a skeleton rigged up as a marionette. There's a scene at the beginning of the 1931 movie Frankenstein where Fritz the Hunchback runs into a skeleton. I mean, you know, I hate to disillusion you. Those were real human skeletons because no low-budget B film is going to pay anybody to sculpt a human skeleton when all you had to do was go to a biological supply house and get a human skeleton. You know, wake up and smell the budget. That's really the way it worked.
The next time you watch Poltergeist and that scene comes up, just remember that those dead bodies aren't fake. Those are the real thing. That was the list. I hope you find these urban legends to be interesting. Let me know if you guys like to see a part 2. And I would truly appreciate if you give this video a like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you all next time.